welcome. I appreciate you coming today. And grab some refreshments. We have some golden nuggets that you see on the table. Please feel free to eat those. But I will be asking you for a nugget when you are done. What did you learn? What's the one takeaway that you have that you picked up from this presentation? So feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation. And you can take a look at next one there. Click on there. Questions and answers will be afterwards. Also, if you feel free to ask those, you can get some paper on your table, desk. You can write some things down. And please enjoy your first step in becoming a millionaire. 90% of all millionaires come from the real estate industry. Okay, so that's very important. So what we want to do is we want to see what your takeaway is going to be, and we'll go to the next. So this is me, a little introduction about me. And what you can see here is I served 23 years in the military, 20 years in real estate, 9 years in property management. And everything I'm telling you here is I'm just my opinion. So you can do what you want with it. And I'm not a lawyer, not an accountant. So please seek out your own expertise. What I'm teaching is there's just more than one way to do things. I'm just going to give you some pointers on a way. And the difference is when I served in Iraq, they taught me how to do things a way, not the way. Because the way might get some people killed, and then the people that come back, like myself, would say, hey, you taught me this was the only way to do it. 5 of my people didn't come back. You're teaching wrong. I need you to stop teaching that way. So they say now, they say we teach a way. And it's a way. So this is a way. You can learn from a way, and you can take away from what you want to get out of it as you learn. So this is all what this is about. So I love helping. Go ahead, next one. I love helping people with real estate. I think it's very important that they buy and sell properties. I think that's important, but I also think it's important that they rent them. That's why we call it the buy, fix, rent. That's the important part. Renters Warehouse is a property management company that I bought back in, I guess 9 years ago. And we started it, and we've been doing very well. But as a whole, they have over 22,000 properties in the country. And they have over 14 franchises and 27 offices. So there's a lot of people out there, and they're in 21 different states. Does a great job. I really appreciate what they're doing. And that's a little bit about us. A little bit more about us personally as a franchise is we manage over 170 properties throughout central Minnesota. That means we collect about over $170,000 a month in rent. And that also means that we have collected $2.6 million in 2021. And that brings us up to a total of $23 million. So when I started this 9 years ago, I didn't know I was going to collect $23 million in rent. That was impressive, and really appreciate that. So the bad news is, if that was all cash, we'd have to have armed guards, more than what we have. They'd security guards, because it'd be cash. Who does that? Nobody does that. So 80% of all of our tenants pay direct withdrawal right from their checking. 80%. If I can make it 100, that'd be great, but some just aren't there. We don't have a lot of employees, don't have a lot of commission agents. We're not that big, but we did do over 1,000 CRPs this year, and there are CRP is a certificate of rent paid. Really only in the state of Minnesota that I know of that does that, gives credit to the tenants for being in the property. So if you have a tenant in your property, you have to do a CRP. If you don't give them a CRP, you're breaking the law. So you want to make sure you give them a CRP, and of course, 1099s for owners, so we can make sure that we're doing the right thing with the owners. Next. So Renters Warehouse, what we're looking at building is a single family residential rental portfolio. Pay attention, I said single family residential, SFR. SFR is very important. Renters Warehouse is America's first national real estate company dedicated to helping people manage their investments. And we are open to the public, so anybody can get some houses. Our unique fusion of institutional quality data, technology, and know-how equips us with the best tools possible, and I love the technology that we use. It's really very helpful. Obviously, 80% of our tenants pay direct withdrawal right from their checking. I do know that property managers here in town are still using 3x5 cards and a Rolodex. So you can plan, execute, hold, liquidate your real estate all in one place. That's the nice part. That's why we have people here that are real estate agents in this room to help out. Bankers in the room right now, and insurance. So, single-family residential, SFR, is an ideal long-term financial planning tool because it creates two things, equity and income. If you want to do only one thing, buy a piece of land, and then you have equity when you want to sell it. That's great. If you want to get income off that land, you would have to rent it, right? And people rent land to farmers, and then they can get income. Not a lot of income, but that's not what a single-family residential property does. Next. So what we're looking at is plan a portfolio with income and wealth targets to realize by a certain age. So now you got to start setting a goal here. What are you trying to accomplish? When do you want to accomplish it? Should you have something in 10 years yet? Go back. 10 years, 20 years? Whatever your plan is, you need to have an exit strategy. How are you going to get out of this process? Someday you're going to want to sell this property and do something with it. Next one. You can also buy a college fund. Buy it for a child. Buy a property and let it sit there and collect rent, and does it for 18 years. And then at 18 years, what do? You start giving the rent income to the child. So you got $1,000 a month coming in. Here you go. That should take care of your college fund a little bit. And or you could sell the property at that time, cash it out and pay for their college. Or you can save some money for the 18 years and pay for their college. Next. You can compartmentalize each property and connect it with a specific and important financial planning goal like retirement. I'd like to retire someday. You know what though? I think I'm still going to work, so it doesn't matter. I like working. But retirement's important. So what? No, that's right. Go ahead. Let the years pass and the wealth build. Now, looking at this slide, the important things that are highlighted are equity, income, wealth, exit strategy, college fund, retirement, wealth building. That's all you need to know. Those are the things you need to focus on. If you're not setting a plan, then you're not going to have a plan, and you're not going to follow through with whatever your plan is. Next slide. So, buying is where you make the money, not selling. Is that true? Can you really buy and not sell? Obviously, you know when you're going to sell something, that's when you get your cash, right? So if you're buying at this price and selling at this price, well, then you know this is your equity, this is what you get out of it, right? But what would happen if you bought at this price and sold at this price? You would get more money. What if you bought at this price and sold at this price? See, this price isn't going to change. This is the market that it's doing right now. But the buying time is where you're going to get your best value. So buying is where you make your money. That's the important part. All aspects of buying to sell are the same as buying to rent plus more. You're buying to sell because you know someday you're going to sell this property. But let's rent it in the meantime. So let's see if we can get it rented. Now, should we buy low and sell high? Duh. Right? Duh. Everybody knows we should buy low and sell high. Okay? Now, let me see you do it. Let me see you do it, because I see a lot of people buying high and selling low. Why do they do that? Well, they follow the crowd. What about buying now and buy later? Or should I buy now? Or should I buy later? Or shouldn't I buy now? Or shouldn't I buy later? I mean, what are we going to do here? How about if I sell now and then I buy later? What? Yeah, that's a lot of confusion out there. Stick with this. Buy low, sell high. That's all you got to know. Try to stay with that. The final numbers for your profit are how much money and when do I get it? Right? I'm going to make some money here. When do I get the money? What numbers motivate you? We all have a number. When you get your number, you monitor that number. What number is it? I would like to make $1 million. That's a number. I would like to make $500,000. I would like to make $250,000. Get a number, and then start focusing on that number. So now you've got to divide that number and say, what are the acceptable parameters within the range of that number? So if I want $1 million by the time I age 65, you're establishing parameters. And now you can say, now what do I got to do to get that number? Well, if I'm half of that, what's to be 32? I would have to have maybe 500,000 in the bank, right? Half, if you want to do half, you want to add it up and be half again, okay? But you have to have the discipline to stay in your range. So when you're buying stuff, are you buying stuff in the range that you're trying to stay in, or are you going to start buying stuff outside of what you're trying to accomplish? Set your own parameters, set your own range. Nobody can dictate that but you. And that's the important part. Follow your gut feeling. Well, let me give you some hint on gut feeling. It's based on your experience, right? You don't really just have a gut feeling because it's there. It's because you've had some experience, some training, some research, and some professional advice that helped you to follow your gut feeling. Because now you're trying to do these things. Now, once you get your gut feeling, use it to go to the next level. So what we want to do is we want to buy with the rent or end in mind to stay focused. So in the rental business, the price of a rental is the factor here. How much can I rent a house for today? How much can I rent a house for out 20 years from today? Well, nobody knows 20 years from today. I get that. But we do know how much a house is going to rent for today. And then we base that on how much that's going to rent, or how much am I willing to pay for it. So don't forget to make this number a SMART goal. Who knows what SMART is? What's S? Specific. Okay. What is M? Measured. Okay. A. Attainable. R. Realistic. T. Time or timed. You need to have a specific goal, a specific number. You need to have that measured. You need to have it attainable. If it's not attainable, it's not being realistic. If it's not realistic, then why are you doing it? Right? It's got to be timed. I want this to happen by the time this happens. Okay, whatever these things are. When my kids graduate from school, I want to have this. When I get this age, I want to have this. So this goal has to be exactly what you're looking for. And now you get your SMART goal, SMART objective. You start working towards that, and your numbers start working towards that, and it all starts to come together. That's the intent. If it doesn't, you don't have a plan. So what's your plan? So here's a scenario, buying a house. Here's a plan. So a person bought this house for $105,000 and they put $21,000 down on it. Okay, $21,000 would be approximately 20%, 22%, right, banker? Something like that. Okay. We're going to rent that for $1,295 per month. $1,295 times 12 is $15,540 a year. So here's your monthly numbers, here's your annual. The expenses on that are $900 a month. And if you look over in this column, we have property taxes, we have mortgage payment, we have insurance, we have renter's warehouse, thank you very much. We have 5% set aside for maintenance. So we're setting some stuff. This is some basic numbers that you're working with. So now we have $900 in expenses, $1,295 minus 900 equals, and we're missing it, there it is over there, hiding, $395. $395 per month is the income. Is that very much? It's good, it's a good number. 100, 200, 300, 400. Those are all good numbers in rent. That's okay. So we want to know what a capitalization rate is. We've heard of that, cap rates. How do we figure that out? Real easy. We take the NOI. What's an NOI? Net operating, back it up. Net operating income, and we take that by the annual, and we divide that by the purchase price of 105, and that divided out comes to 4.5%. So you're looking at a is that a good rate? Well, now we're looking at numbers. Let's say 3 to 6 or 7 is a good cap rate. So this would be within that comfortable cap rate. So if you say, my number should be between 3 and 6% for a cap rate. Now, if you want 6 to 10 or 6 to 12% cap rate, go into commercial real estate. That's not what residential is going to do, okay? We're going to stay focused here in single-family residential homes, okay? Now, the return on your investment is also based on, that's actually a little big, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to.
Yeah. Your NOI divided by your investment. How much did he invest? $21,000. So this person has $21,000 invested in this property. So if you divide those out, it comes out to 22.5%. So let me ask you this. You have $21,000. Where are you getting 22% interest on it right now? Right? Where are you getting that? You can get it right here in real estate. That's what this is about. So now the question is, if you've got $21,000 at 22.5% interest, that sounds like 23%. This would pay back, I think I figured it out, in 4.6 months. 4 years, 4 months. There we go. 4 years, 4 months. So this person would get their $21,000 paid back to them in a little over 4 years. What else do they have invested in the property? Nothing. Take this money right here that you're getting annually, put it in a savings account, and when you have $21,000 again, 4.5 years later, what do you think you should be doing? Buying another property. Right? Because you're getting 22, 23% interest on your property. If this rent goes up, this return on your investment goes up. You're not putting any more money into the property as far as down payment. You might be putting some maintenance into it. Well, we put that in there already. So that's figured in a little bit. What if they don't pay the rent? You know what? That's okay. We'll still make out okay on this. Let's not get so wrapped around the axle on these on the rent. Okay, next. Any questions on that? All right, let's talk about the 1% rule. Anybody Google this? It's on the Google. You can look it up, 1% rule. 1% rule means your rent should equal 1% of your purchase price. Okay, so if you buy something for $100,000, the rent should be $1,000. Thank you for playing. Appreciate that. Somebody should play. Okay, so if you know that that's the 1% rule, and there's a 10% rule and some other stuff, that's okay, we're not going to get into that. 1% rule, I've added a triangle to this. This is my touch. Selling price is one of the angles, rent is another angle, and then maintenance cost. So now let's go to the next slide. I want $1,500 a month rent. So I'm going to buy something for $130,000. I'm going to put $20,000 into it. That's $150,000. 1% is $1,500. Now you're going to come to me and say, I want to buy this house I found on the market, and they're asking $300,000 for it, and I want to rent it out. Well, what's the 1% rule? $3,000 a month rent. We're not getting $3,000 a month rent, and we're not going to get $3,000 a month rent for probably another 10 years. Okay, so if we're not going to get that, then don't buy that and think that's going to be investment. What you should do is buy a house at $150,000. Boy, I have more money, yeah. And another house at $150,000. So now you have two houses at $150,000, and we get $1,500 a month for both each. What's 1,500 plus 1,500? Now we're making 3,000. That's how you do that. Well, what if I buy something at 100,000 and it needs $30,000 worth of repair? Well, 100 plus 30 is 130. We're still going to get $1,500 a month. You're doing better than the 1%. That's what we're looking for. But don't forget about this cost right here. And don't get don't get scared of the maintenance costs. Just accept it as part of your numbers, and you're willing to work on it and put some money into it. The only time you're going to get scared is when you spend $175,000 and then you get $25,000 in repair. Now that's something to be scared of, because now you're going to not make as much. I had an individual call me up and said, I want to buy a house for $189,000. It's been on the market for 3 days. And I said, why are you doing that? I thought you were an investor. You shouldn't be spending that, jumping right out there and competing with all the other buyers. He said, I really like it. I really like it. I said, well, I can't get you $1,895. I can't get that for rent. I can probably get you $1,400 if you want to wait a little while. How long? Maybe 4 or 5 years. Okay. Well, he went ahead and bought that house, which is fine, and he paid $189 for it. And then we rented it for, I think, $1,450, something like that. I don't think we're still up to that point. It's been a couple years yet, so we're probably at that $1,695, something like that. So we're getting closer for him. And you could say, well, my numbers are my parameters, and this is going to work for me. And that's fine. Okay? If you're not in a hurry and you're okay with that number, that's fine. You can work with these numbers. Okay? That's a lot on the triangle. That's a lot of stuff there. So there is a risk here when you buy something. Okay? And the risk is yours. Why is that important? Because you have to do your own due diligence. Have some realtors in the room, and they love it when buyers do their own research. And I mean, go to the courthouse, check in at the courthouse, see what it says. If you're buying a rental house, go to the city and find out if there's any complaints about that property. See if there's any assessments, future assessments that are pending. I can think of the city right now says, I'm ready to assess this guy $18,000. Well, that's kind of important information to know if you're going to buy that house and you didn't go to the city and research that out. It'd be nice if the realtors would do all your work for you, but no, they don't. And we don't expect them to, and you should not, Nick. Because if it goes wrong, it's on you, nobody else. You need to accept it, adjust it, move on. Well, what if the tenant, I don't care. What if it doesn't matter. Well, how about if it doesn't matter? It's your responsibility to pay for it. Then, if you can go after somebody to get it, that's different. If the tenants cause something to go in the drain and they cause a problem and you're going to pay for it, and then you can go back after the tenants and take it out of their deposit, or actually we'll try to collect it right away. But first off, you got to accept it and move on. Next. Because the glory is also yours. The profit is also yours. The thrill of accomplishment is also yours. You're the one that's going to get the benefit of this real estate venture, of the money that's coming in. Because every time I ask people to share their profit with me, they say no. Why is that? They want me to absorb some of the risk with them, but they don't want to give me the profit. And I say no. That's your risk here. You get profit for that. That's okay. Just accept it. Okay? So don't listen to critics. Nobody ever built a monument, but only to those that persevered. Anybody ever seen Mr. Abraham Lincoln? Right? He looks down. Right? He's pretty small. That's a really big monument they built to somebody. Right? Did you see the monument they built to his #1 critic? The guy that shot him in the back of the head? No, there isn't a monument to him, is it? You don't have a critic that bad. He had a bad critic. You don't have him that bad. You can go ahead and persevere and push through this thing and make it happen. Because people are going to tell you you can't do that for whatever reason. And you got to say, no, I got to move on. I got to keep pushing. So where there's no vision, the people perish. And you're going to have the vision, and you're going to persevere. Stand up, have the vision, take the risk, and stay focused. All right, what's the difference between tenants and buyers? Okay, next one. Buyers are looking for kitchens and baths. So if you're a buyer, you're looking for kitchens and baths. Next. They're looking for long-term, forever dream house. And we know that the dream house is only how many years? 7 years. That's their dream house. Okay? They're looking for curb appeal. It's got to look good from the street, right? Location, location, location. Maybe the realtor's going to address what that means. Next. Priced under the market. Buyers are looking for that. Hey, I need a deal. What's under? What can I look for? What am I going to get? Right? They want it available in the spring market. Okay? Next. And they want a warranty. There's no warranty when you buy a house. The only warranty you're going to get is if it's a court-ordered action. Right? That's the risk. Even buyers have risk when they buy properties. What's the best market? Well, there are a lot of buyers in that lower price range. So when you want to sell this house, if you have it at that $150,000 range, that's today's market. When you sell it 20 years from today, there's a lot of buyers that are going to want to buy that. And that's the importance. So we know that there's a lot of buyers looking in that lower price range. Okay? Now a tenant is looking for bedrooms versus bathrooms and kitchens. They're not looking at bathrooms and kitchens. How many bedrooms does it have? Okay? They're looking for short term, 1 to 2 years. They're going to move in, they're going to move out. Okay? That's what they do. Next. They want something that's neat and clean. Location, 30 miles, not location, location, location. Location as in 30 miles or 30 minutes from their place of work. And that's what they're looking for. Price, they're looking for, this is the price range I can get. I can afford $1,200 a month, and that's it. So if you price something higher than $1,200 a month, they're not even going to look at it. How do you know if it's worth it? Well, you can check Zillow. That's always a nice idea to take a look at what, there are rent values on Zillow. And they're looking for available. Is it available? And they need it right now. They don't need it later. They don't need it in 6 months. Renters are looking for something that's available right now. Warranty? Yes, they are going to get a warranty on the appliances. So you're going to see that the appliances will be warranted by the homeowner, our landlord. What's the best market? Right now in this area, there are 1,000 people looking to rent. And how are they doing it while we're sitting in this classroom right now? I'm looking for a 3-bedroom for $1,400 a month, right? That's what they're looking for. And they look it up. And I said 1,000. This market, St. Cloud, is only 100,000 people. But there's a lot of people looking. And what's really interesting is there's a new crop every month. How is that? The lease ends. It's a 12-year lease, 12-month lease. And it ends in January. And when the lease ends, they need a new place to live. So now they got to start looking for something else to rent. And here they are. Now they're looking. So every month there's a new crop and a lot of people looking. What's the difference between investors and buyers? So investors are going to buy next to the railroad tracks. Investors are going to buy next to the highway. Investors are going to buy in the ugly areas, right? I buy ugly houses, right? That's an investor, okay? Because why? Because that produces income. That house next to railroad tracks is going to get the same rent that it's going to get for a house that's not next to the railroad tracks. We get the same. It has a lower cost purchase because nobody wants to buy it. Less competition. Nobody wants to buy it. Longer days on the market. Nobody wants to buy it. Easier bank financing as long as you put 20% down. 25% down. That's fine. Is it a college rental? No. Don't buy college rentals. Not a good idea. Just stay out of that drama. I don't recommend it. Okay? Now, a buyer's not looking for income. Okay? So that's not an investor. They're dealing with multiple offers. They're dealing with multiple buyers. They're dealing with lots of issues that are happening that you shouldn't be dealing with. They're also waiting until the spring market. Why? Why are you waiting for the spring market? Buy low, sell high. Means nobody's buying right now. Then this would be a good time to buy because you get better deals. Next. Investors versus buyers. First thing we see up here is maintenance. Set aside 5%. Sure makes life a whole lot easier if you set aside some money. If you don't set aside some of that rent, then it's going to be hard. Investors have to form an LLC. You don't have to, but I strongly recommend you form an LLC. Talk to an attorney and get an LLC started. But what is important is you make a profit. Now this is not buy, fix, sell, buy, fix, flip. This is buy, fix, rent. Rent is slow and steady. And you make money off of slow and steady. Are there fix-up costs? Yes. So what should they be? Well, a couple of ideas I have is I would recommend using linoleum instead of carpeting. I'm recommending no carpeting in the whole house. I'm recommending one color of paint in the whole house. Why would we do that? Because when they move out, you take that 1 gallon or that 5 gallon paint and you set it in the middle, you dip in there and you go doop, doop, doop. Put it back in and then you're done. Go to the next room. Real simple, a lot easier. A lot easier to do that. Buy in a small town. Why is that a good idea? That's a very good idea. Because why? The rents are lower. No, they're not lower. They're not any lower than what you pay anywhere else. The closer you get to the Twin Cities, the rents go up. The further you get from the Twin Cities, the rents stay the same. They get to a certain point and they just stay there. So we're getting $1,300, $1,500 a month rent for some of the houses, and that's okay. You're going to get that anyway. You get closer to the cities, you might get a little bit more, but not too much. Is there a lower purchase price when you buy in a small town, like Little Falls, Piers? Yeah, there is. Okay, so if there's a lower price, but the rents are the same, wouldn't it make more sense to buy in a smaller town? Is there a higher return? Yes, there is. So we know that buyers, go hit them all, have all of these issues. They're looking to make a profit, but only when they sell. When they have fix-up costs, yes, when you buy a house, you're going to have fix-up costs, but they're going to do granite countertops, stainless steel appliances. You don't do that. That's not your point. You're not a buyer, you're an investor. I didn't say put in stainless steel appliances here. I said buyers do that. You're not a buyer. You're not going to do decorative interior design. You're not going to add a bathroom. You're not going to expand the kitchen. That's what buyers do. Understand what renters and landlords do. This is what we do, and this is what tenants want. Can they buy in a small town? Sure. Will they get a better rent? Doesn't matter. Will they get a lower price? Yes. Higher return? Yes. Over time. That's all fine. So it's very similar, but really contrasting. See the difference? Okay. You want me to go over that one again? Okay. So what's the difference with house versus a home? Well, this is interesting. So we're looking at the house here. What do you got? Is your rental property a house or a home? A house is made out of, see, 2x6, glass, wood, carpet, sheetrock. That's what a house is made for. Tenants cut the grass. Tenants pay all the utilities. And if the numbers work, then keep renting it. Okay? Because it's all about the numbers. There's no emotional attachment. Don't worry. Just fix it. Raise the rent. How hard is that? Don't worry. Just fix it and raise the rent. Maybe not on these tenants, but you can definitely on the next one, you'll be able to pick up the rent a lot higher. We're seeing rents go up as much as $200 a month when one tenant moves out and the next tenant comes in. So it was $1,000, now it's $1,200. Now if the renter stays, it might only go up $50, not $200. But you're always going to raise the rent. Now, is it a home? Well, if you say these things like, well, I love my home. I appreciate that. Will the landscaping be kept up? We are moving back in 5 years. Will it look the same? Will they care for it as much as we did? And we're really worried that they're going to, what? Something. Smash it, ruin it, something. What are they going to do? It doesn't matter. You're going to move back in 5 years if that's what you're going to do. You want to move into this house, that's fine. At that time, remodel it. Because you're not going to like what they did anyway, so keep it inexpensive and do it. So if you have a strong emotional attachment, then this is not the business for you. You should not be an investor. Because investors think about 2x6 glass, wood, plywood, that's it. Fix it, let's get it back in the market. I got to get this thing making some money. That's what it's got to do. Okay? And that's okay. So are you an investor in rental real estate? So you have to think like an investor, act like an investor, and be an investor. Because you are an investor. When you start thinking like a buyer, then you're going to get yourself in trouble. You have to get into a different frame of mind and say, I'm an investor, and I need to think like, and that emotional stuff doesn't work for me. I can't make that work because there's no money in it. If you have emotions, you lose money. And that's going to hurt you. So be an investor. I'm going to pull out the fix. So what do we mean by fix? What do we mean by fix? We mean the next thing, which is cosmetic, minor repairs, major repairs, remodeling, rebuild, and addition. What are you going to do? You're going to buy something that needs some work. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to look at this house over and see what does it need. What should I do to this property? I know everybody wants to buy something that just needs cosmetics. That would be great, but then why wouldn't everybody buy it? There's a house on the market right now in Dassel. It's only $50,000, a split entry house. $50,000, bank repo. 1,400 people have looked at that ad on Zillow, and they haven't bought it. If you think like an investor, you're not scared of this stuff. Line somebody up so that they can come in and do these repairs. Get a good contractor. Have them come in and look over the property, and then have them get out there and do the work. That's the best thing you can do, is get this stuff done and not be afraid of it. One option I said is linoleum throughout the whole house, no carpet anywhere. Why not? Carpet gets stained. Girls do nail polish, and they, oops, on the carpeting. They have candles, candle wax, burns the carpeting. Okay, now you got little stains in there. Dog hair, dog scratches, cats trying to get out of rooms. Orange juice is a real bad thing. They spill orange juice on carpet. You wipe it up, but did you get it all? Or is there going to be bacteria underneath there? And I even got into other stuff. So that's the main stuff. You got linoleum, it all, dog hair, all that stuff gets cleaned up. It's real easy, and it's easy to take care of. Well, it's more expensive than carpet. Is it? You replaced carpet three times in 10 years, and you never replaced linoleum. And if you want, you could even do these. These are squares. You can pull out a square, put a new square back in. Done. You can do squares linoleum, and you can do squares in carpet. That's not a bad idea also. One color of paint I mentioned. Throughout the whole house. Eggshell, white, whatever. Paint the trim the same color. Even in this room, I got red here, but paint the trim, paint the paint, everything's the same color. Why? Because it's easier to paint again, right? Touch it up, boom, done, move right on. What about protection? I like protection around, like plastic around the corners. Bull nose if you're going to do some real construction on it. In heavier traffics, I also recommend 36-inch wide doors. 36-inch. Heavy-duty appliances. These are all important things that are going to be good. And I also recommend, where is it? Caulk everything. You can caulk a lot of cracks and put a lot of fill in there and make it look a whole lot nicer. Definitely caulk around the bathtub, again. Caulk around the sink, again. Put some nice stuff on there and just keep it nice and easy, because you want to keep this simple and easy. The tenants are going to move in, tenants are going to move out. And that's how quick this is going to happen. Label all the shutoffs. Isn't that a nice thing to do? Tenants are going to call up and they're say, hey, I don't know where the water turnoff is. Well, let's go downstairs and look. Here's the water meter. Right there it says, oh, water turnoff. Yeah, that's it. Turn that one off. Okay, and it's just a real easy latch. It's not a spin dial, it's a real easy turn. And now it's going to be locked up. Watch for potential problems. Green copper, I have right here. Green copper. Okay, you see this in a house, you should say what? That's probably going to be an issue. Okay, so we're looking for little potential problems. Exposed electrical wiring, extension cords, leaking traps, faucets, and toilets. I walked into a house one time and she had an extension cord. As I walked in and I was standing on it, I looked down and she had a rug laid down and there was an extension cord underneath the rug. And I pulled that up and she had an extension cord running to the light, to the TV, to the kitchen, and one to her bedroom from this extension cord. And I said, yeah, this is not going to fly. We're going to have to stop this right here. Pulled that up and unplugged everything and said, that's enough of that. That's dangerous. So what I want to do now is I want to pass around some things that you can take a look at. Now why this is important is you can see what that looks like, and I can tell you what day this will leak. Christmas. And she's going to call up, the tenant's going to call up and say, what? I have 15 people, true story, I have 15 people in my house right now and we have no water because it's leaking. Yeah, that was Christmas Day. Try to find a plumber on Christmas Day. Okay? Now this one doesn't look as bad, right? Okay, what's interesting about that is if you can see through there, okay, can you see in there? You're drinking that water that comes through this. Okay? Be careful. I don't know if I would want to drink out of that. This is an outlet. Pay attention. There's a little bit of burn mark right here. A little bit of burn. So when you see a little bit of burn, maybe you should say, there's an issue there. Because why? Because you look on the back and she's definitely burnt back here. Pull that out. That's a fire hazard. Smoke detectors. What's wrong with this one? No battery? That's a good start. So when I see this, I go, why is there no battery in that, Mr. Tenant? Well, you know, it keeps beeping and we can't take it out. Listen, that's not how it works. Okay? So they need to put a new battery in. Yes, we know that. But what happens if actually on the back it's expired? These have an expiration date. They're only good for 10 years. I don't care how many batteries you put in this thing, it's not going to work because it's expired. It just beeps to tell you it's dead. So now, if you notice the color on that, what it used to be and what it is today, it's just a little more faded. So you can see that date on there. This is just something that we have in Minnesota. A little shutoff valve here that is a compression, and this has a little bubble right back here. Be careful, that's kind of sharp, but that's from an ice froze up. And then we just have a knob here. Pass that around. It's kind of unique because it's made out of gold. Not really, but you're going to think it was. That's enough. That gets you to start on that. Okay, next one. So what we're looking for when we talk about fix is we want to have some simple rental differences. We want to have an easily maintained yard. That means snow and lawn. So they should shovel the snow or snow blow it into an easy area and everything's taken care of. and they should be able to cut the yard, and it's just easy. Where's the landscaping? No landscaping. We're not doing landscaping. Tenants don't do landscaping. Okay? We want to finish the lower level bedrooms if it's like a split entry house or something, which I think is an excellent purchase price. So if you find something like a split with the 2 bedrooms on top, and I think there's one out there I saw in the market right now for $158,000. It's $158,000 and it's a split, and nothing downstairs is finished, but the upstairs is finished. And it's finished very nicely. It's a nice 2 bedroom. $158,000, I'd have to get what for rent? 158. So $1,595, probably could get that. That's a little high for a 2 bedroom, but it wouldn't be too high if you finished off those lower levels downstairs. And you just finish them up. That would be in very good condition. Be a very, very nice house. We're looking for no curb appeal. We're looking for no landscaping. We're looking for a simple lawn. So when you're looking to buy something, this is what you're looking for, because the tenants aren't going to do that. And that's the important part. We want to get something with 3 bedrooms instead of 2 bedrooms, because 3 bedrooms rents for $100 a month more. So an easy thing to adjust would be to just say, I want to add a bedroom to this house. Well, if you can add a bedroom pretty reasonably, let's say $1,500 to finish off 1 bedroom downstairs, $1,500, you make $100, you would have your return on that $1,500 in what? 15 months. And then you start making money. I know it's not a lot of money, but you didn't spend a lot of money. It's just money, so we're working on numbers. It's a process. Can I do an addition to a 1-bedroom house? I think that's a good idea. Buy a 1-bedroom house and then just do an addition onto it. Only add bedrooms. I didn't say add a bathroom, because now it's a 1-bedroom, 1 bath. Now it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. The most popular thing in the state of Minnesota and the country is 3-bedroom, 1 bath. That's it. $1,200 a month. That's what you want to look for. You do that, you do it all day long. You get all kinds of them done, but you can add 2 or 3 bedrooms, that's okay. And again, neat and clean. We're not looking for fancy decorations and a lot of different stuff. And we're also looking at having 1 full bathroom. Just 1. So it should have a full tub. If it doesn't have a tub and you get a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and it's only a half a bath or a 3/4 bath, and it doesn't have a full bath, a lot of kids can't get baths. And of course, we're dealing with families. Redevice. That's something you can go in there and just change out the light switches, change out the outlet breakers, change out, not the breakers, the outlets, change out the outlets, change out the plates, replace the lighting, get rid of the 1940 light and put in a new updated one, just a nice little simple light, nothing fancy. Let's get wrapping here. So, rent. Taking a look at rent here. Why do we want to rent something? And that answer is because Renters Warehouse is here. So as we can see by some of these things, I'm going to go pretty fast here. We set a high bar of a customer service. We collected 98% of all the rent that was owed last year. COVID, 98%. Can't do evictions from the government, state and federal, 98%. Pretty good deal. Really, people want to pay their rent. They really do want to pay their rent. They don't want to get in trouble with the government or anybody else. They just want to pay their rent. We're focused. We stay focused. Tenants are tricky, and they know the law better than you, but they don't know it better than me. In fact, so much, I actually helped write the law with somebody even in this room that helped me write that a few years back, put some stuff into the law that is still there today. Monthly statements are what's important here. And we're also looking at annual statements. So make sure you look at your statements and see what they say. If there's an issue there, you can take a look at them. We're owner focused and supported. The lease is written in your favor. It is not written in the tenant's favor. Keep that in mind, because the state of Minnesota and other states have laws that are written in the tenant's favor. If there's going to be an issue there, you want to have a good solid lease that can support the court case so that you should win. That's the whole intent there. So we want to be an advocate to help you to make sure you're in the right direction there. And what we're going to do is make sure we find the best tenants, qualify them, and then track any problems and issues that might come out of place. So next thing we have is some steps. We prepare the house to make sure it's rentable. We write appealing ads. You can go pretty fast on these. We search questions to find a qualified tenants. We meet and interview the tenants. We have the same standards for all tenants because why? Because DOC, Department of Commerce, HUD, Housing, Urban, what? Development, HUD, Fair Housing, they don't play. You do something wrong there, you're going to find out about it really quick. And that's not where you want to find out. So don't play with them, do the right thing, and it goes a lot easier. We're going to verify the tenants. We're going to make sure that they do a credit report, make sure we have that credit report, and then we're going to follow up with any questionable issues that we might find on that credit report. And then we write that lease. And yes, we are legally qualified to write a lease, and I'm not an attorney. Why do they give us that right? I don't know. Realtors have the same right to write purchase agreements. They give us that right, we write them up. They're legal and binding, so that's very good. More property management steps. We're going to collect the money, first month's, last month's, and deposit. We're going to do a move-in inspection. Mostly when the tenants are present. They seem to be like that when you do the move-in inspection, when the tenant is there. We're going to give final instructions and keys to them. This is where the water shutoff is. This is where the gas shutoff is. This is where the circuit breaker is. So we're going to teach them those things because when they call and they have a maintenance issue, we say, number one, go back and send us an email because we don't do stuff over the phone because we can't track that. They go back in, they do an email, and now we have a maintenance request, and now we can say what happened. And then we can say, did you turn off the water? Did you turn off the power? And then they say, yes, I did. I didn't know how to do that, and we can work them through that. We collect the rent. 99% was collected. At the end of the lease, we have a move-out inspection with video. Now that's important. The move-out inspection is very important. The video, you know, you can't use it in court. It won't be used in court because judges don't want to take 5 minutes and watch 5 minutes of video. They're just not going to do that. So the concept is it really helps to protect us and you because then we say, we've got you videoed. We videotaped this, remember? So that really is a good, helpful protection for you. The deposit must be returned within 21 days. That's the state of law of Minnesota. And then we start that process all over again, and we prepare the house for the next tenant. So you got to get this thing back out there. Remember I said we get that paint, put it in the center, we touch a couple of things, and we move back on. Because then we can get that house moving and get some more people moving right in there. So rent. Well, because Renters Warehouse is here, we said that. We help lower the eviction risk, and we prepare documents for court. So when you have an attorney, they're going to come out there and say, what documents do you have? And we're going to say, here they are. And we have all these documents. Whereas the average homeowner who's renting out his basement says, I think I gave him the notice. I don't remember what day it was, but I think Thursday, or I don't remember. Well, attorneys need more than that if you're going to evict somebody. We're all part of a team because what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have a threefold cord to help against that tenant. The law is in your favor, you are in your favor, and I'm in your favor. Those are the important threefold cords. So we're all going to help working together against the tenant because you see the tenants sometimes act like children, and we are parents. You're owner, you're going to be dad, I'm going to be mom. And when the children say things like, Mom said it was okay. No, Dad didn't. No, that's not how it works. Yep, no. And we got to make sure that Mom and Dad are on the same sheet so that we're working with those tenants. So we're not playing landlord. This is a serious business. We use the local market to find out what kind of tenants are out there. We find out what kind of tenant needs that they have so we can look at those. And we try hard, but we are not perfect, but neither are you and neither are the tenants. So we'll all work together to make sure we're working hard to get this thing worked out. And we keep things on an impersonal standard. No guff, strict standards, no nonsense, don't give an inch. Tenant says, I can't pay my rent this month. You're going to have to be evicted. Oh, that's a word that they understand very well. That's one word that we'll use, and we'll use a lot. You're going to get evicted. Well, all of a sudden they come up with the rent. Funny how that works. But if you would have gave them that inch, they would have taken it. And then I got owners that come up to me and they say, renter's not paying my house. Can you guys manage this property? Sure. How long has this been going on? Oh, about 3 years. They haven't paid rent. Okay. Yeah, well, here's the deal. I can't help you with the collections, but I can, starting with this rent check, I will tell them here's how much the rent is. And if they don't pay me, now it gets serious. Don't do that, because I'll come knocking on the door. No one rents for free. That's my motto, and I really follow that. Okay, next one. On this rent, we have because Renter's Warehouse is here. All fees are deductible. We get new calls from owners and tenants every day. We're on your team. Rent Feeder is our advertisement program, and it advertises out to hundreds of tenants. There's no way they're not going to find that ad right here, because it's the same ad running in 100 different places. But you know where we don't run it? Don't run it on Craigslist. Why?
Facebook.
I don't put it on Facebook either. No. And I don't put a sign in the front yard, because there are certain tenants that I don't want. Those are not qualified tenants. So most millionaires started in real estate, and so can you starting today with this information. So we have rent versus selling now, and we kind of talked about some of that. You get a higher return through principal reduction, appreciation, tax saving, and cash-on-cash returns. If you sell something right now, you're going to get this much equity. You sell something 4 years from now, you're going to get all that equity, plus the appreciation, plus the principal reduction, plus the tax savings. You get all of that stuff 4 years later. And it really works out a lot better. So that's called creative leveraging. You're leveraging this account. It says it is the only investment you can get a bank to finance and a stranger, a tenant, to repay. That's a pretty special deal. But what are 5 things that all owners want? Number 1, they all want the rent paid on time. Are we asking too much? Just pay the rent, pay it on time. Number 2, just treat it as their own home. Just treat it nicely. You know, this is what we tell the tenants. Pay your rent, pay it on time, and treat this house nicely. Number 3, no police calls. Okay, no city violations. Maintenance requests submitted immediately. Some owners say, well, I don't want to hear about it. You want that maintenance request immediately. When they call up and they say the faucet's dripping, do you think it's going to stop by itself? Do you think it's going to slow it down? No. Do you think it's going to get wrecked on some flooring? Yes. Get that maintenance request, get it submitted immediately, and let's get working on it immediately. And then we ask that the tenants follow and or adhere to the written lease. If it's not in the lease, it can't be enforced. If it is in the lease, it can be enforced. And that's the important thing. Now, the next thing is, what do all tenants want? Well, I've narrowed it down to these 5 things. The number 1 thing is price. I can afford $1,200 a month. I can afford $1,000 a month. Whatever that is, that's their price, and they're going to be within $100 of that price. That's it. Neat and clean. House needs to be neat and clean. Does it have to have really nice color, this or that? No, it needs to be neat and clean. The location, 30 minutes or 30 miles from work. Their work. It needs to be available when they need it. And lastly, maintenance. Maintenance maintained by the owner, which they are taking on faith, hoping that you will fix it. I had a tenant call up, said that toilet's not working. So I called the owner and I said, your toilet's not working. He said, which one? I said, I guess it's the one on the main floor. And he said, oh, okay, well then they're good. I said, no, they're not good. We need to fix that toilet. I said, here's what's going to happen. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fix the toilet. Mr. Owner, you're going to pay for it because that's what you're supposed to do, okay? Because a happy tenant pays rent. So we're going to go ahead and get that toilet fixed, and then you're going to pay for it. Should you decide not to pay for it, that's acceptable. That's fine with me, because what's then going to happen is I'm going to pay for it. And then I'm going to go ahead and pay for it. But then when we're done, I'm going to walk over and grab my property management agreement that I have with you and say, we're done. Because I'm not working with an owner that's not going to take care of the property. Because I want happy tenants. And he said, no, you misunderstand me. No, of course I want that fixed. I go, yeah, that's what I thought. That's good. Okay, we'll get that fixed. So, in wrapping things up here, I placed some nuggets, golden nuggets on your table. You're supposed to eat those. Okay, nobody's even eating those. But these are nuggets I want to see if you learned something today. These are some of the nuggets I have. Rule of thumb, holes no bigger than my thumb, and that's the rule. So that's what I look for when I look for damage in a house. You can have as many pictures on the wall as you want, as many as you want. When you pull that nail out and it makes a hole the size of my thumb, Mr. Tenant, you're going to pay for that. Otherwise, it's just wear and tear. Wear and tear, according to HUD, is not deductible from the deposit. Don't try to deduct wear and tear. What's wear and tear? Well, look it up. You can look it up through the HUD standards because there's a lot of different things. Messing with the deposit generates the most court cases. You want to go to court, take their deposit. They need that deposit to go to the next property. And when they don't have that at the next property, they freak out. I don't care that they caused the damage. They don't care either. They want their $500 back out of the $1,200 that you took. Now you can go ahead and not give it to them, that's fine. But should you get a court order that summons you to court for a $500 bill, you have to decide if it's worth your time to go back to court, get off work, maybe talk to an attorney, get a little advice, and then show up and then maybe win the case, maybe not. Judges are pretty liberal today. I've heard judges say words to this effect. Mr. Owner, you have a $200,000 home here. You can see the tenant is crying over $500. Why are you being like that? Yeah, so what do you say to that? Well, fine, because that's it. Just write a check and be done. It's not worth it. We return all calls and all emails, and we expect the same from you. Same day is the best, because there's a lot of issues. Let's try to work them out together, and we can solve a lot of stuff quickly. Tenants know the law better than most owners, but not more than better than me. I'm not a lawyer, but I can surely find some lawyers, and we can get some involved here really quick if we need to. Evictions cost up to $1,700, and they must be done with an eviction attorney. You cannot evict without an attorney. You're wasting your time and you're wasting your money. And you should do it right away. When they're behind on their rent, threaten that eviction, start it right away, and then start that eviction right away. Don't wait 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. It's not worth it. Do it right away. If the state says you can't do it, the federal government says you can't do it, that's wrong. They don't have that authority to tell you. Don't discriminate. Legal costs up to $10,000. That's no fun, so you don't want to get into that because even that's when you win. Losing's even more. Just do the right thing. Don't discriminate. Let some people in there do the right thing and everything goes fine. Property management is a requirement of rental investing. I think we covered that. And Zillow has lots of information about rentals. You can look in Tennessee and see how much house you buy in Tennessee and how much you could rent it for. It's pretty accurate. Okay, on this one, there's a call to action. What should we do now? Where do we start? What will it take to move forward? How many properties should you buy? What location is the best place to invest? What price range should you buy in? How do you offset inflation and risk? Who can help me? When is the best time to buy a rental? What about this economy? That's a lot of questions. I hope we answered a couple of them in this seminar. There's a lot more that are out there, and you can feel free to ask us. But really, we don't care about the economy or who the president is or what party's in power. We don't even care about COVID because it really doesn't matter in the long run. When you get wrapped up on this, you're not paying attention to your investment. An old investor told me once, he said, the old investors will tell you that they simply bought, fixed up, rented, and sold to make wealth. And you can too. He sat there right on that 5-gallon pail, and I remember him, he was smoking a cigarette, and he's telling me how he's been buying and selling properties through several different presidents, several different economies, and he's always been making money because he just kept at it. That's the whole key, is just keep at it. So what was your nugget? What did you learn out of this?